Charity class, take 1. Let's see what we get. If I see an A1226 with a dead GPU, I'm going to kick it right out of here. I know someone's going to bring that because I linked to Milan's video from 6 years ago of him shooting an arrow through it.
I have this 17-inch. It doesn't work anymore.
What year is it? 2011?
No, I think it's 2010.
We have a lot of plushies in here.
Yes. It looks very comfortable. All right. Peter here.
Hello. How are you?
You got stuff to work on?
Let's see what you all have. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. All right, so before we get started, where are those? Did Hi give you a form? All right, where are the... Okay, so I had the... Where did Hi put my forms? I had them right over here. Ah, okay, so I'm going to have you all sign a form that says, you know, you're not going to sue me if you stab yourself in the eye with a soldering iron. All right, so what do you each have? Let's take a look.
I have a MacBook Air with a backlight issue.
All right.
Yeah, that's what you love.
He's cherry picking. It's a good thing Paul's not in the room for that. It's a good thing Paul's not in the room for that.
I have an iPod Touch 4th generation that will not charge.
He has a trick one. He has an iPod Touch. That's
David, you've been late the last 2 weeks. Get in here. What? Are you fucking kidding me? He planned that shit. Okay. Oh. All right. Okay, that's going to be interesting.
The battery and the screen on it.
That's going to be interesting.
It powers on, but it won't charge.
It powers on but doesn't charge. Yeah.
It powered on when I put the battery in it, and then the battery had no more AC.
Are you the one I said the iPod person is here Saturday, most likely? Or no? Shit. Okay.
I've never been here before.
All right. Let's see. Let's see what you
I
have.
set up one issue, and I created another one by ripping the pad off the when I tried to replace the fuse.
That'll be fun. All right, let's open. Let's see what it looks like.
So yeah, so the issue was created when I plugged in like a cheap like Chinese converter for the adapter for HDMI to hook it up to my TV. And for some reason, when I went to go change the display settings, it blew.
You want me to help? No, I can't do that.
Well, you can't pass it down type thing.
Paul.
Yes.
iPod. That charge.
Where's David?
Someone asked me about an iPod, and I thought it was him, but it was somebody else. It's asked if he would be here on Saturday when David's here.
Yeah, David needs for iPod.
You'll figure it out. One sec. Take a look. What's the worst that could happen? Okay, so you said you've already replaced the battery, right?
Yeah.
So, do you have an amp meter? Do you have a charge cable for that? Okay, let's start off with an amp meter. See what it takes. Okay, so let's take a look at your... What did you do? What did you do, and how can we help?
You tried a known good screen for that one?
Yeah, I replaced the screen and the battery, and it powered on initially with the new battery in it, and I plugged it in and charged it with another charger.
Okay, so it's just not charging.
Oh, dear God.
Battery's good?
Yeah.
Okay, so first thing we're going to do is figure out which... there's supposed to be a fuse there, so we're going to figure out which side, which pad is... let's see.
Another fuse.
So the fuse is not... all right, so I want to figure out where I can grab this from, because this is where your pad is blown off. Actually, it looks like you... Yeah, so you still have this pad. Also, it looks like you even though you... Yeah, you scraped away a lot of shit here that didn't need to be scraped. Technically, this is where the scraping needs to happen, because this is... so we're going to have to figure out where that comes from. Have you ever used board view software before?
Yes, but I'm still very green at this.
Okay, so I'm going to open up the schematic for this board. The way I find the number on the board is usually... Actually, on this one, it's under the SSD. So I'm going to be 820-3437. Okay, I'm cheating. I know that from the size of the JTAG connector. So let's open this. Now this software is from Australia, so it never works right. But no, you know, do you ever have that problem with Open Board View where it opens up the board view but not the schematic? Paul Ren. Hey, he's afraid of Australian software. So am I. Okay, here we go. We got it to work. Always make sure you get a chance to yell at Paul Daniels. So here's what we do here. So the first thing is, this is the fuse, right? This is where you are. So what you need to do is figure out which one you messed up. So which side did you mess up? The bottom or the top?
2, I believe.
Okay, so 2 is the bottom one.
Correct.
Let's take a look. Yeah. Which one is bad? The bottom or the top? Can you solder to this? Guess. What do you?
No.
Okay, now when you're looking.
There's solder there, so I maybe I'll change my answer to yes.
Okay, so there is solder there, so you can solder to that. Now, so there is a pad here, even though it's a very like fucked up bigger. You've made the pad bigger. That's nasty, but that's not unfixable. It's just nasty, but that does conduct electricity.
Okay.
Can I solder to this? What's this?
Does not look like there's a pad there.
There is no pad here. So what you're going to need to do, you could technically solder a fuse to this side right here, right? You could solder a fuse to this, and then over here, you're going to have to do one of two things. Either A, run a wire from wherever else this is. So you have to run a wire from whatever the nearest spot that you have this is. And on the board view software, when I click it, it shows me the nearest place is this fuse over here. Or behind door number 2, if you're really slick and skilled, what you could do is you can actually dig out this over here. So see this? There's actually a little copper piece over here. And you may be able to run a jumper from this and make a pad out of it. But that's going to be a little bit more difficult to do. It's totally doable, but it's a bit more difficult. Now, how would I tell if that little nub over there is still actually the 12-volt rail?
Do you want to have him tune in as well? Because he's here to just like, you know.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so tune in with them.
So take a measurement.
Okay, now what would I measure? Now remember, what I need to do is I need to see so this is PP bus G3 hot. That's a 12-volt rail. That's the 12 volts that feeds the backlight circuit. And now this is the side where it's going into the backlight circuit. That's the second side of the fuse, right here, right? So this is the second side of the fuse. Now, this is technically, even though it's gross, it's still connected. It's still making contact with that transistor. The problem is that where I would put the other side of the fuse, where voltage is going into the fuse to go into the backlight circuit, this is the one that looks like it's not there. That's PP bus G3 hot. Now, if I wanted to see if that little nub was still conducting, what could I measure? It's supposed to be PP bus G3 hot. So now there's a way I could measure and try and figure out if it's conducting. What would I measure? Open ideas. Anything that you have.
It's resistance.
Resistance to ground is a good thing because it tells me if it's actually shorted to ground. But that's one thing that I should know before I get started here. But that's not particularly what I'm looking for. What I'm going to be looking for is, okay, it's not, let's see. It's not short to ground. That's great. I want to see if that's actually PP bus G3 hot. So remember, you piece of shit camera. Turn the, there we go. All right. Why is this set up as crotch cam? Paul, you gave me crotch cam.
Oh, yeah, I moved all of that. I did not look and see where it was aimed.
Uh-oh. Okay, one moment. I have to remove that so that it's not crotch camming. Okay, let's see. That's not crotch cam. So the board view says that PP bus G3 hot, the closest place it comes from is over here. Now, if I want to see if that little point over there is still conducting, what I can do is I can do a beep test. I can put the meter in a mode where it beeps at me, like this, when things are touching.
Is that on, is this like ohms?
Yeah, this is on ohms mode. I'm going to see if it's where it's touching, and then this is PP bus G3 hot. That's what's supposed to be at the start of the fuse, and then I can touch that little nick over there, and I can.
Continuity that
Yeah, continuity test. Now I can't actually see that. I can't see that without the microscope very well. So I'm going to put this over here, and let's see. Okay, do we get a beep? We do. Now, what is your experience level when it comes to soldering?
Very little.
So if you wanted, what I think we would be able to do in one workshop with you is you would be able to solder a wire from this fuse over to a fuse you solder there. I think that's something you'd be able to do potentially do in one day. The proper way to do this would be where you'd have the least amount of stuff on the board, what would be a more professional repair, is if you solder the fuse to this pad, and then you run a micro jumper like this from this point over here, over and around to your fuse. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because like you don't have a pad here anymore. Now you could create a pad, but you would have to scrape away at this, solder to the small point, not lose that nub because that nub is all you have left over there, and then put a fuse over here. Is this for a customer or is this your own device?
This is my own.
So it doesn't now. If you because if this was for a customer, I'd say try to do your best to keep a short wire. If it's just for you, then like honestly, who gives a fuck? So what I would do here, the first thing I'd want to do is see you take the fuse off of this board and then put it back on at a station so that I know that you have the ability to solder this without destroying the whole board. So this board is a piece of shit that's been liquid damaged. So it is, again, it's no harm, no foul if you fuck it up. So let's see if I would grab a station, probably the middle one over there. And what I want to see is can you remove this fuse and put it back? But first I need you to sign a waiver so that if you stab yourself with a soldering iron, I'm not getting sued. And where's Hi Hi? Because he was supposed to print that 10 minutes ago. Hi Hi! Where's...
Open up yourself. Sure. Yeah.
You can't see the microscope camera on this anymore.
Okay, so this is a legalese way of saying that you're not going to sue me if you stab yourself in the eye.
You got one for me?
Oh yeah, I have one for everybody. I just have to cross out the date. 1 sec. Let's see. Sunday.
Thank you for doing this.
And all right, so fill this out. Once I have more pens, I'll get one for you. Oh, here we go. Okay, this is for you. Oh yeah, I have to edit this.
Today's the 28th, right?
Today is the 29th.
No. It's a really small field of view for some reason.
Okay, for you.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah, sorry that it's so small. This was any full setup. That's right. So what I'll do, for example, I'll put a little bit of flux.
Okay, this one's for you. Says you won't sue if you get. Oh, I need to get you a pen, don't I? And
There's some liquid damage going on the board, so probably have to put the back part and stuff.
all right, beautiful. Thank you very much.
That's a very silly question.
Sure, 1 sec. Let's see what you have.
These eyes seem close together a little bit.
Yeah. So if you want, do this. Also, I just want to make sure that you're in. This is in focus. I just want to make sure that I can see what you see on the screen over there. Okay. So. Can you move just a little bit? I have to reset where this thing is. 1 moment. Sorry.
The first one had it that I moved away, but
Shit. That just ran away.
you can suggest me something.
Okay, I have to make it so that it's in focus for you and it's in focus for me. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. I kind of want to show you how I do it.
All right. Okay, what I want you to do is try to remove that fuse, and then try to put one on. And here you have a hot air station. Have you used a hot air station before?
I have not used it. I've used soldering, but not hot air.
Okay. I will give you a quick demonstration, and then you're going to do it yourself.
Yeah.
You have fuses on me.
He's just going to take the one that's on this board off and put it back on. he's gonna. I want us to have him try on a donor first. So this is what you're gonna do. All right. Mm-hmm. Okay. So first thing I do is I take a small amount of flux here, put it over here, grab my fume extractor. Don't touch the keyboard, you little... Oh, right. Now, you're going to have learn how to tell where this is without looking at it. That's the first thing that is very difficult to do, because you're going to have the urge to do this. You're going to need to be able to look in here and know where this is. So, first of all, you see how you can kind of see the shadow as it moves in? So before I see the nozzle on camera, I know if I'm nearby because I see its shadow. That's part of how I know where the nozzle is without having my eyes outside of the microscope. So I'm going to look in like this. You start from a little bit further away from it. And then after about 5 or 10 seconds, you go in a little bit closer like that. And then once you see the solder get molten, you can grab it. And now see how now you can tell that it's dry, because you can see how it's no longer liquefied. Now when I want to put it back on, same general idea. Do this. You should be adding flux when doing this. You drop it in there, and surface tension will allow it to automatically flow in a place where it's supposed to be. You don't have to try to slide it perfectly. So if I actually have flux on there, you'll notice that it just automatically flows itself into place. And it actually makes the joints look nicer. So see how after I added flux, the joints on both sides kind of looked a little bit nicer? Yeah. Flux makes you look smarter than you are. It's a beautiful, beautiful instrument. I'm trying to teach Paul how to use more of it. Okay, so you're going to take the fuse off and then put it back on. I just want to see that you can do it without making the whole soldering area look crazy. So let's see how you do there. Video capture. Rename. A pen. Here you go. What's that thing?
Oh, just a little showing him how to properly solder the pins.
So, how am I turning this? There's a button on the end. Pretty cool, right?
And then it automatically turns off when you put it into the struggling with that screen board moving around that. Blade and adjust the microscope, but these things are way too expensive for what they are, but they help you so much. You just stick the end of the circuit board in there, tighten it down, and then it's a solid base.
No hid me?
It's way too much money for what it is, but it wasn't working.
Oh no, that's. Oh yeah, that's for me to put it on that screen. Oh shit, you want to see it on here?
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Duh. Are you using the computer?
Yeah, well, just for the camera, that's it.
Oh, okay. So where's? I'm gonna. Can you unplug the computer from there?
We need to put the splitter and everything. We don't have to. It's fine.
The splitter's already plugged in.
We have
Yeah. Just unplug the computer and plug this into the. Wait. Where's the HDMI cable that was coming out here originally?
That's it. That's it. I don't know where it's connected.
Oh, I don't have a splitter for this one. I only have 2.
You only got 2 splitters?
No, I bought 4, but I didn't get it yet today. Okay, never mind. This one won't be on screen. That's fine. The splitter is going to come. The other splitter is coming today. Sorry, I fucked up your camera.
Oh wait, we got some new stuff today.
I destroyed his camera. Wait, you got new stuff today?
We got more cables.
Is that a
These
splitter?
are the switchers.
No, I need HDMI splitter. Is it this thing?
Yeah. No, that's the camera, microscope camera for this station.
Okay, so the splitter is probably coming later today or tomorrow. Oh yeah, this is the. Yeah, this is the splitter. Can you hook this up? Yeah, I hooked up the other 2 already. Poor guy. Yeah, so that's good. That HDMI is going to my capture card, and then this split you can split it between the monitor and here. That's the way I can have it on my screen as well as. Now you plug into the Nook. So how many amps is this drawing?
This one draws 0.5, and then this one will draw 0.1.
Does this turn on with a working battery?
I don't know. I swapped the battery because I knew the battery was bad.
Where'd you get the battery from?
I fixed it.
Their batteries, they're going to come with a charge. Usually they come with a charge.
It powered it on by itself.
Oh, okay. So the new battery you got powered it on?
Yeah.
But it never turned on
I
again?
plugged it in, and then I plugged it in, and it wouldn't charge.
Okay, but does it still turn on or no?
It'll turn the screen on and say low battery,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
but it won't.
Yeah. When you first plugged in the iFixit battery, did it say low battery or no? Or did it actually boot up all the way, or did it only start saying no battery
Booted
later?
up all the way. I got to the lock screen, I logged in.
Okay, so you just ran out of battery. So yeah, you're having okay, so that confirms it's a charging issue and not a. That confirms it's a charging issue and not some other random nightmarish thing. And you said you changed the charge port already?
No. I changed the screen and the battery, that's all I did. Well,
Was it charging before you changed the screen?
I don't know because it was water damage. I left it outside instead of
Okay, here we go.
the battery.
Okay, so let's unplug. All right, unplug the screen for me, and we're going to take a look at the charge port pins. You hit configure video, and you have to. No, I know how to change that. You have to configure video and change it to RGB from YUV, BT, whatever. It's in this thing. RIGB. There you go. Thank you. Hi. Okay, so now we have it on both screens. That's cool.
This automatically shuts off when you put it in.
Yep.
It's gonna cool down.
It'll cool off.
See,
Yeah.
see the screen, it says it's cooling.
Yeah, so the way these work is if you just put it in there and you immediately turn the air off, it kills the heating element. Let's say the heating element is designed to get this to 400 Celsius with air going through it. If you immediately turn the air off, even if you turn the heating element off, since it's made to get it to 400 Celsius with air going through it, when you don't have air going through it, it'll go 5, 6, 7, 8, and just start boiling itself. So if you have one of these that doesn't automatically know to be smart when you turn it off and keep the air going through, like let's say the Weller WHA 900, you want to have it set up so that the air keeps going through it even after you turn the heat down. If let's say you ever come across one of these that's analog that doesn't auto turn off, once you're done with it, turn the heat down and then 30 seconds or a minute later, then turn the air off. It prolongs the life of the heating element. All right, so were you able to get the fuse off and onto there?
Off, and now I have to get it back on here.
Because when I took it off, it shut off. So I had to find it for it. It took a minute for me to find it.
All right, so let's see if you can get it back on.
All right.
What did you bring? What do you have?
I didn't bring anything. I was interested just doing some looking at soldering, how to troubleshoot soldering.
Oh, cool.
At my job, I work with boards all the time.
Mhm.
We change them. We don't
What kind of boards?
TVs or appliances.
What's your soldering skill set?
Very minimal because I only had to do it for like a refrigerator sensor with the top door. You had, sometimes I had to solder the water.
On the things that you work on, what type of solder? What's on them? Is it like mostly through hole, surface mount with legs, quad chips, QFN chips that are just
Surface mount with legs.
surface mount with legs?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see if I could find some for you to get some practice. Have you ever tried doing surface mount with leg soldering before?
No, because when I tested like for continuity, if I find an issue with that we just take out the whole part.
Okay, let's see if I have anything surface mount with legs that you can get a little bit of practice on.
Unless it's like a physical fuse that I could take out and just put back in. No.
This has 8 legs.
Yeah.
This is the BIOS chip.
Yeah.
Let's see if you can take it off, and I'll show you how you would solder that back on from scratch. It's going to be a little... I don't have a microscope camera set up for this station yet. I was going to soon, but got fucked over by the post office, so I'm waiting for... that's why I had to reorder some of those, like the splitters. So let's... So have you ever used a hot air station before? Okay, what's the first thing you need to do?
Check for power.
You need to plug this. Yeah, you need to plug it in. I'm a jackass. Okay, this is kind of like the cobbled together station that I'm working.
Put a little bit of flux always.
Do you have a power strip for this desk? How many hot air stations do you think Sunny's electricity will support at once? 1? Okay. Okay, so we need to plug in this, and microscope light. Orange extension cord, hi.
Switch, splitter. This one should be almost all set up.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, so it shows up on the screen over there.
It shows up on the screen on here, and then they can switch between microscope or computer.
Can't believe we got monitors that have VGA. I guess they were cheap. Yeah, it is what it is. Okay, so his has water damage. So did we check the pins in the microscope for the that?
For what?
The pins of that like 50 sheet connector?
Yes, they don't look very good. But it's still getting power. It is getting power. So.
That's a weird charge port because it has so many pins. It's not like minus plus one wire ground.
It is there.
Or anything.
If you look at the, I actually have one of the cables that's just charged, and all it is just positive negative.
All right, so I would just use that to split it from 1 and 2. Yeah, this has 3 outlets on it. Okay, so all we need to plug in is a rework station, a soldering iron, and the light. Easy breezy. Okay. Bada bing. Okay, so have you ever used a hot air station before?
No.
Have you used a basic soldering iron before?
A basic, yeah.
Okay.
Like 4 times.
So as I said with him originally, anytime that you're working with this, I want you to get into the habit of looking in the microscope even when you're using this. It's very difficult for people to get in this habit because when you have this out and you're looking in here, you can't see this. So what's very helpful, this is a little bit tight, let me just loosen this a little. What's very helpful with this is if you take a look at the shadow. So if you can... You arrange this to where you can see this chip under the microscope, and also feel free to arrange these oculars to wherever makes sense for you. So I want you to look at this chip under the microscope, and I want you to arrange this for the width of your eyes. How's your turtle?
This one up?
Yeah, that
Laying eggs.
middle.
Put it under the microscope. Let me see.
Eggs?
Yeah.
What egg?
My turtles have been laying eggs.
Oh, I thought you meant the microscope was laying eggs.
Here, put it down on the screen. I want to get it under the microscope. So once it gets like a really silver colored away.
Okay, so you have it over there. Now the next thing you're going to need to do is figure out how to make this comfortable on the desk, because this is a bit of a... So let's make this so that we have this over here. This gives you a little bit more room. Now, I want you to do, before we even turn this on, I want you to get practice with being able to tell where this is while your head is in the microscope. It's hard because you can't see it. And the way you're going to start to tell is when you can slowly see the shadows start to encroach in the microscope, you'll know that you're close. So I just want you to see, can you get an idea, like slowly start to put this into view and see if you could tell where this is with your head in the microscope. And does that chair go up anymore or no? We have like kindergarten chairs in this office. Is that the highest this chair goes, or is this one of the kindergarten chairs?
No, it goes taller.
Okay.
Sometimes it'll get stuck. Just press it down and let it heat up.
Let me know once you think you have a good feeling for where the nozzle is and where it's pointing without your head being out of the microscope. Because then we can move on to the step of removing that, and then I'll show you how to prepare the pads to put it back on.
There you go. Now take a look at it, and you'll see clearly the dot. There we go. Okay. So it looks like. So that little tiny dot is indicating pin 1.
I can see. So now, on the board,
Don't be scared. You have to tap it.
Where-
Press it and move it. We'll bring that up as soon as I have it done. Is it just in the... Yeah.
Can't believe David managed to weasel his way out of this. An iPod Touch 4 with liquid damage is exactly what David has been asking for. I was just saying, an iPod Touch 4 with liquid damage is exactly what David deserves.
True, actually.
Here's the...
And he admitted yesterday he was lying about you-know-what.
There's pin 1.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it came out.
I know. This would have been perfect timing.
Really would.
Okay, so you got an idea where it is? Now, the next thing you're going to want to do is... Actually, wait. I don't have a fume extractor over here. No Oh, shizzle. No fume extractor.
Oh yeah.
Ayo, bishit. Okay. All right, so you get an upgrade. Come over here.
How about that?
Oh. Okay, let me add my microscope onto the screen. Video capture, add. Okay, what I'm going to want you to do here, actually, let me just give him his board. This is his board, by the way, just so it doesn't get lost.
Really?
You're going to add some flux here. And then I want you to take this chip with a set of tweezers and remove it. But you want to use the bare minimum amount of time of heat on there that you can, because the more heat that you use, the more likely you are to destroy the chip. Heat kills it, but heat is also what removes it.
I was going to say, all right, let me move on.
Some flux. You will not be billed for the amount of flux that you use here. Be generous. I could see the bottom. I could see lab station number 3 is using the proper amount of flux on screen right now. And look at how beautiful that joint comes together now that he's using the proper amount of flux.
On what?
Paul would be mad. I just saw like a giant blob of flux over there.
Oh.
But the joint looked perfect.
What's up?
Giant blob of solder that's going over like 3 or 4 components, and there's a chip in this. The chip doesn't look like it went into the substrate.
Ah, just put. Yeah, there you go. All right. Don't be shy. Flow it like it's free. All right. There you go. Okay, you're gonna grab this. Now, as I told him, these stations automatically. I'll tell you when you're done. The hardest part in the beginning is going to be figuring out where that thing is pointing. Because right now you're pointing at something else entirely. So you need to go over to the left. No, you're not. Okay, let's try this. Yeah, so let me show you what you're doing. Look right here. You're pointing it here and then here. You need to be here. So you need to know where this thing is when you're looking in the microscope. Yeah, that's much better. And you're not cheating. Okay, you cheated a little bit. I saw it in the camera. Now, okay, now you're pointing it at the desk. Move the iron up. Okay. Okay, so you got the chip off. That's good. But the problem is that, let me show you. You had the iron over here. You could be over here, because when you're doing this, you're murdering that little chip that's right next to it. So the chip that's right next to that chip, let me just put that on the screen here. So this, so you were actually heating this thing over here, and but you were heating this so much that it actually heated this area over here. But you want to only apply your heat to the specific area that you need to be applying the heat to. Also, see how this pad started to come off? You pulled it off while you pulled the heat away while you were pulling the chip away.
So you leave the heat on while you
yeah, so you need to you need to be heating this area, not this area. So the chip started moving, but this side over here was warmer than this side over here because your iron was over here rather than being a little bit higher and directly over the chip that you want. So you really want to focus on getting the heat exactly where you need it so that doesn't happen again. I'm going to reattach the chip, and then we're going to practice you getting it off properly. And once you get it off properly, I'll have you put it on properly. So let's switch real quick. So, wait for this to heat up a little bit. Beep! There you go. If you don't yell at it, it doesn't beep. So what I do is I tin the pads. That one I have to be careful with. The one that came off, that may actually be a pad that's not used for anything. The pads that don't connect to anything are typically easier to remove because there's nothing heat sinking, nothing keeping it on there. So, watch. I'm going to put the chip on. Now, I'm going to show you what you were doing versus what I'm going to. So you were doing this. You pointed it here, then here, then here. It needs to be over here. Now, the way that you can typically tell is you can see the nozzle in the microscope. So you can see where the nozzle is in the corner of your eye in the microscope. And that's going to be how you tell. And you're going to give the chip a little push. Come on, get the freaking... There we go. And away. And now I used a little bit too much heat there. Technically, that would have melted way earlier. So I want to see you remove this again, but don't put your hot air over here or there. I want you to do it over here. And actually, what I would say is if you can't see where the nozzle is in the microscope, you're in the wrong place. Take it away and start over. All right, let's see you do it again.
This is not mine. This is a donor board. So
his board is over here. I wanted to have him practice. Was he able to remove the fuse and put it back on?
I was, but then I accidentally removed another component that's next to it.
The six-legged thingy.
The six-legged thing.
Okay, so you need to be able to do a replacement fuse on this first before we do it on this one, because this one has hope. So. How far down the rabbit hole are you?
Found a solder blob and a couple disconnected pins.
Okay, that's progress. Do you have a microscope at home?
No.
There's a lot of... Everything is going to look way uglier when you start looking in that. Everything looks uglier under there.
including your hands and whatever else.
It's a good thing I can't look at my face under a microscope. I'd probably cry.
Yeah, that SpongeBob thing where they zoom in on the face.
Okay. Now let's see if you can put it back on. How did you feel that came? That came off.
Smoother because, like you said, I was directly over.
And notice how when you apply the heat evenly above it, see how the upper left pad never came off, it never moved? That's what you're going for.
You have a second?
Yeah. David scammed me. Ta 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 ta.
Some of the copper is complicated.
Yep.